appreciate it. At least there are some people that I know, such as Kumar who works with me. And one of the few people that I really respect, because there are certain things about his personality that I learn from. And you learn from everyone. You have to know that. Okay? Nobody is perfect. So if I'm standing here, it doesn't mean I'm perfect. It only means that I have something I need to share. And I'm going to try and share it with you today. Your jobs, your career plan is very important to you. I believe everybody is a working professional here. All working professionals, raise your hands. So everybody's a working. Good. Your career is a little, how should I say, it's a Pandora's box. If you don't know how to handle it. Alright? If you don't have confidence, you will have a career, yes, of course you will. But you would not be very happy with it. You would have a professional life, but you would not be content. Alright? And I'll just reflect some issues, and then we will get down to the presentation. If you see my first slide that clearly says what happens when your confidence shifts. When your confidence shifts, your ability to succeed becomes lower. You start to have a lot of challenges. And you'll be surprised to know most of the problems that you have in your careers are made by you. And I have a standard rule, personally and professionally. Never make your own problems and then complain, I have a problem. Let somebody else give you a problem, that's good, right? That's better. Like in the last session we discussed, we said, you know, somebody who has too much confidence, overconfident, is like a person who jumps in front of a lion and he says, guess what, lion, I have confidence. And the lion looks over and says, good, because I'm hungry. Okay? So you cannot have something that's floated, which is hot air. You need to have confidence that is set on real principles. Okay? Who all drive a car? Okay. Do you know the feeling when you first got your license and you drove a car? Nobody forgets that feeling. It's incredible. You have a look on your face like $1 million. It's like you just won $1 million. You're driving whichever car, you don't care. Trust me, at that first drive, you don't care which car you drive. The smallest, the shadiest, the worst looking. It's a car and you're driving. You're so happy. You're looking around. Everybody's looking at you. Maybe somebody's actually laughing at you, but you're so happy that you're driving. So that experience is very important. Now as you drive, now just pay attention to what I'm saying, because this is leading somewhere. As you drive further, and you drive further, and you drive further, and you reach the highway. When you reach the highway, now you kind of get a little conscious. That car's zipping past you, 120, 140. It's a highway, it has to be 120. You're on 60, 70. Okay? And you start to shake. Now you try to move your lane, and it looks like everybody's targeting you. It's a war zone, and you need to clear the alley, and there are 15 snipers looking at you, that feeling. You don't know how to shift the lane. Now, you start to shift the lane, you follow all the rules that you learned at the training school, which is indicate and move. Guess what? It doesn't work in the real life. The minute you indicate, nobody wants you to move. Right? Okay. So now you panic more. But you're still driving. The car is still with you. You're still controlling the car. Then after a while, when you shift the lane, you go to the second lane and then to the last lane. When you reach the last lane, you think you're happy. So for a moment, you have joy. You say, thank God I missed out on all those crazy guys going past. And all those bad dreams of a car banging into you, those pictures you had seen and stuff. You say, oh, I'm at least here now. And you start going slow. And you maintain your 60, 70. Now you needed to reach, let's say, accompany. Okay, you went on from Salmiya, and now you want to go to accompany. So you're at 60 or 70, and you can still see on your left shoulder people going past you. 120, 140, 110, 100, 90, all speeds. and you can see them go past. Now, by the time you reach, it was an invitation you were invited for, a dinner invite. And most people had already finished their dinner. You were probably the last person to arrive. Now, when you arrive there, look at the change of perception here. You arrive there, the host says, "Where are you? I've been waiting for you. Everybody finished their food." You go like, "Thank God I made it." Okay, he's saying, "Where are you? Everybody's waiting." You go, "Thank God I made it." Now you are happy because you made it there. He's upset that you are late. You're not even listening to the guy because you're just happy that you made it. Now let me translate the whole thing to you. In your career, that car that you got on first was your first job. You remember your first jobs, guys? Everybody does, just like your first car. You remember how excited you were? You had that $1 million smile when you went to work. You dressed well, you looked well, you smelled well, everything was well about you. You didn't care what anybody thought. You went to work. As years passed by, you began to sulk in your position, in your job. Because of that, slowly but surely, like in the highway, your confidence went off. Then it came lower, and then it came really low. Now you had no energy. You were just doing a job like a robot. Anybody has had that feeling? That you reach a point where you feel you're doing a job because you have to do it and not necessarily because you like it. A lot of people go through that. It's real, so you're not unique and you're not special enough. And the reason for that is because you changed your lanes. You went to the slow lane because that was the most secure lane you thought there was. You reached your retirement age. You did retire. But like the guy who said, "Thank God I reached here," you said, "Thank God I'm done with working." And very little to reflect on, to say, in my career, I did this and I did that. Why? Because you had a career with very low confidence. And it's very strange why confidence among general Asians is low. It's very low. Somehow, we seem to be born with this ability to fear. We're scared of everything. Everything. Stock market crashed. We're scared. Well, did you invest any money? No. Do you have any shares? No. Are you planning to? No. But you know what? My friend was just talking about the stock market crash. Whoa, something's going to happen. I don't know what to do. The stock market crashed. Okay, a plane came down. The Russians shot down a Malaysian airline. The Russians shot down a Malaysian airline. Were you on it? No. Are you on the Russian side? No. Do you think the plane was going to fall on your head? No. The Indian government changed. The ruling party is no longer Congress. Now what? Oh, Modi is a hardliner. Oh, but Rahul Gandhi is not really that good. Oh, then who do we have? Mamta? No, she's not great. Then who? No. Chief Minister Bihar? Not really. And then we have so many heated arguments about this. And I'm surprised actually how much time people take on these issues. People who have done zero to contribute to the country, besides probably paying tax. And by the way, that too most people don't. I'm NRI, why should I pay? Why should I? I'm living here, am I using those services then? So we fear ourselves, fright ourselves to the end of the world for nothing. For nothing. Similarly, in our jobs, when we don't have confidence and we reach the office, we feel those 15 snipers looking at us. So we go and sit and start and hope the world is not going to cave in on us. Guess what? Nobody looked at you. Guess what? Nobody knew you came because you're so discreet. After a while, you become invisible. You're there, but you're not there. You're on the roster of some HR file, that's it. Nobody knows you exist. And you meet somebody, there's an event of the company or something, and the general manager or the CEO meets you and you say, I'm in your company. He says, really? Yeah? Nice to meet you. What he really means to say is, who the hell are you? You have to realize, if you don't have confidence, the only thing that you end up doing is hiding yourself. Because you're scared of what? Nobody knows, even you don't know that. Even you don't know what you're scared of, but you're scared. So this whole culture of fear has been given to us by history, by tradition, by generation, or simply by inheritance. So your mom, dad, your grandfathers didn't leave the land, the gold, the money, the real estate for you. They left for you a lot of fear. So they always told you, don't go there. They always told you, don't do that. They always told you, stay away from this. They never told you what to do. Why? Because they probably also suffered the same thing you're suffering. Lack of confidence. Lack of confidence is something you really need to understand if you actually want to do something with your professional lives. Does anybody here want to do something with your professional lives? Would you like to do something with your professional lives? The first thing you need to do is to get confidence. You know what is the opposite word of confidence? Does anybody know? It's fear. It's fear. When you have no confidence or low confidence, you're fearful. Okay? If that gentleman there, right at the back, his wife is about to, let's say, deliver a baby, he's fearful. He should be happy. If his kid is going for his first play, he's fearful. He should be proud. If his daughter is running a race, he's fearful. He should be so happy. See the difference? I'm sure everybody has felt this, right? Ask yourself why. What are you fearful of? Losing? Okay, so what? Do you think that losing is the biggest, the most super, humongously large insult in your life? Is it? Everybody loses. Everybody loses. Every single icon of celebrity that you know, read of or saw, that has been successful today, has lost so many times over until they've succeeded. So if you lose, be normal with it. So I'll give you an example. I was just discussing this with someone the other day. You know when you go for an interview, a job interview, again, panic. What will happen? So you go to this job interview, and there are like 5 people there, and you're called in. You do your interview, you think you did very well, you had rehearsed everything about it, and you saw the job profile and you said, I fit this perfectly well. I fit this perfectly well. So finally they said, okay, from the 5, you and you, so you're one of the you who's shortlisted. So now there's 2 of you. And they do another round of interview. And then finally the job is given to the other person. You go home and you're devastated. And if it was just the day that you were sad for, you did a good job. Most probably it's going to be the week, if not the month. And everybody next to you, around you, including the flies in your house, everybody's devastated. Because you have oozed so much sadness that it becomes infectious. And everybody, the cat that moved outside your door walks like that. You know? How do you guys manage to do this? Because you failed an interview? Now let me break that interview down for you. Let's do diagnostics. When you went in for the interview, there were 5 people, right?
Yes.
What was your chances of success?
1 to 5.
Yes, 1 to 5. You came down to 2. What was your chance?
1 to 2.
Okay. Then when you lost, what did you lose?
Against myself.
Right? Okay. Now let me break it down from a real perspective. Yes, you had a 20% chance of success, then you thought you had a 50% chance. You did. Why? Because the decision is still with the interviewer, not with the competing candidate. Okay? Get your perspective right. Always understand the situation correctly. Then, when you did the interview and you failed, probably you failed just 20 to 30%, because 70% was not with you. The interviewer had a mood, didn't feel like it, didn't like your hairstyle, didn't like something, or the next guy was his cousin. Whatever, okay? So you have to take failure, accept it with what it is. You should not go busy trying to own 100% of the failure when you should be owning only 30%. So your sadness should be worth 30%. It should not be worth 100%, right? So spend time doing some diagnostics on your failures, rather than just saying, this is all mine. Don't be so rich, guys. Don't take sadness from everywhere. All right? Because if you did, then you need to move from here, go to Italy. There's a huge cathedral. The Pope would definitely need some help. Okay? So if you really want to take so much global sadness and engulf it in your chest, don't do that. Don't do that. Take what belongs to you. Now I'll just go through this, so if we can just get the lights, Sumi, can we get the lights? Or the lack of it towards failure. That's it. Slide. Now let me just give you a brief about myself. That's my career chart. Currently working with Abdulla. I work there as the Chief Strategy Officer for the group and advisor to the chairman. Prior to that, I worked with BT, British Telecom. It's a Fortune 500 company. I used to handle Middle East and Africa. Alhamdulillah, I took the business of around £4 million in 2004, and I left them with around £128 million by 2012. Right? Prior to that, I worked for Abdulla Thakur and Sons. You know the LG Electronics brand, right?
Yes.
Okay, I was the one who went to Korea to get it. So I was actually competing with around 24 or 26 guys from Yusuf Ahmedullah and around 18 team from the side. And it was just me, Abdulla Thakur, and the GM passed away, may God bless his soul. The three of us. And I still remember having like 12 Koreans in front. And I did my largest presentation ever. I did 148 slides. Till today I laugh about it. 148 slides. That's funny to present 148 slides. But in 2004, I didn't think it was funny. I was still trying to get my bearings in place, so I thought that was great, and the Koreans loved it. And we thankfully won the agency of around $30 million a year. Then I worked for ITS. Anybody knows what is ITS? International Turnkey Systems? All right. I was their senior marketing strategy officer. I was in charge of basically taking one of their products, which is a billing product, to the region. And then I helped them open doors with most of the operators. And I did some work with Zajil. This is an interesting one. This is very early in my career. That's Garas. Garas is an anti-drugs campaign in Kuwait. This is probably the first thing I did in my career, way back 96, 97. And my boss wanted me to get an advertising campaign support from the Ministry of Interior. So I go sit with the minister himself and him and all the undersecretaries, all these uniformed people sitting there, and poor little me going in there. I had around maybe 40-something slides. And I started the presentation. Immediately I realized, I'm very attentive from an early age, so I realized they were getting bored. So I told the minister, I said, Mr. Minister, can I ask you something? He said, what? And I picked up a calculator in front of me and I kept it in my hand. I said, sir, do you know how many drug users are there in the country? He says, I don't know. So I asked one of the undersecretaries because I knew that. He said 10,000. So I put 10,000 on the calculator. I said, sir, is this 10,000? He said, yes, it is. I said, okay, so how many people do you think will be influenced by these drug addicts? He said, maybe 3. No, he said, maybe 10. I said, no, let's try 5. So I said, so our target market is now how much? He said, 50,000. I said, okay, very good. I said, how much do you want to invest in advertising messages to make sure that these 50,000 stay away from this 10,000? much. I said, no, no, just 10 dinars is enough. So do you know the final number? So if you have 50,000 times 10 dinars, how much is the number? Come on, guys. Thank you. Exactly. 500,000. So he said, yeah, that sounds realistic. And I had my presentation done. But he said, we are a government entity, we can't really. I said, sir, I need only from you 250. The other 250, I'll go get it. He said, how? I said, I just need you to sign some, documents which says that you support this anti-drugs campaign, and I will go and get them. And I went to Zain, which was called MTC. I went to Kuwait Airways. I went to KPC, and I got a lot more than that. When I went back to office, this is when I was 27 years old. When I went back to office, my CEO, he told me, Abdulla, did you get the amount? I said, yes, of course I did. And I showed him the number. He thought the zeros was wrong because he had sent me to get 10,000 dinars. And the 38 slide that I had the number on it. It was only because I had confidence that I used my head to understand there's an opportunity here. I can make something out of it. So I stopped my slide because that was boring them, and I used that attention that they gave me to hit a home run, or I hit a six like this. And that's what I did. I hit a six. And my CEO was zapped. He was like, what the hell did you do? Is this real? I said, yeah, it is real. Of course it's real. The minister's signature is on it. And that became one of the most famous public service announcements till date. The government of Dubai invited us to teach their university how to do that. I went to New York, stayed there in Manhattan for a couple of weeks with the Drug-Free America Committee, trying to understand how they do things and stuff. So when you have confidence, you think on your feet. You don't get into a situation with a brochure outlook without thinking free. You were all born free, trust me. Nobody has changed your thoughts. Nobody has. So don't behave like people whose thoughts have been changed. So when I go and get myself into a situation, I free myself from anything. I look at the opportunity. Maybe it's not there. We guys are so strange. Okay, this came to me very recently. Anybody here from the medical field? Okay. Can I ask you whether in Kuwait, do we suffer more from respiratory illnesses or digestive illnesses? Okay. Now, which is more serious, the digestive or the respiratory?
Respiratory.
Right? Okay. It's very serious, right? And it's actually very serious for the younger ones and the older ones.
Yes.
Right? We have a company that knocked on all our doors and sold us water filters. Right?
Yes.
And that company went from zero to a millionaire because we bought into the fear. Whereas what we should have bought was duct on these AC, filters on these AC ducts. That's what we should have bought. But when you don't have confidence, what happens is you buy into anything. A person comes and says, excuse me, very good real estate deal. Guess what? 5 times return in less than 12 months. How is it possible? But you think because he said it to you quietly, in hiding, in seclusion, so you think you've got the best deal in the world. The only thing you had was the best con in the world. And we all get conned by con artists because they prey on our lack of confidence. Right? So confidence is very important. It is really an important ingredient. Otherwise, some of you must have faced this in your life, that somebody cheated you, and then when you think, how can I do that? Why didn't I think clearly? Well, because you didn't think clearly. Somebody with a lot of confidence overpowered your mind and got you to a place where he or she wanted you to be. And after that, everything falls into place. Slide. Very interesting slide, right? Like I said, anything strange in that? Do you actually see a bullet cut being pulled ever by a lion?
He does not escape.
Yeah, well, even if you do tame him, try getting him to be pulling that thing, and he'll give you a message or two. Alright? I'll tell you what this means. I've met a lot of people in my personal and professional life who are very highly qualified. Very highly qualified. But when I see what is the jobs they do, that's the way it is. You have to understand, if you are really a lion, you shouldn't be pulling a card. Right or wrong? Why don't you ask yourself this? When you feel sad and upset, you sulk about, I have a bad situation, this is not right, they cannot be doing this to me, oh come on, I had it. Well, ask yourself a better question. Do you think you're good? Do you think you're really great? Do you think so? If you think so, that means you're the lion. A lion does not get close to a card. Right? So decide. If you think you're good, then believe you're good. If you believe you're good, then you have to do things that match with good, not regular. So anybody has a son who's around 9, 10, 12 years old? Raise your hand. Okay. Do they play football? Okay. So let's say he plays football, all right? And he has a big game coming up. And he's telling you, Mom, I'm really tensed about this game. Really, really tense. So there's this one player, he's really good, but he's injured. So we think we're going to lose the game. And you tell him, why? Don't worry. You still have the other guys, right? 10 guys. You can still do something. No, Mom, it's going to be really bad. This guy was really good. So she says, I have a surprise for you, but I will not let you know until the day of the game. So he wakes up in the morning all excited. Mom, what's the surprise? Not now, when we reach the field. When we reach the field, he's asking, Mom, what's the surprise? Just wait, enter the field. He enters the field, and he sees, guess who over there? He says, Lionel Messi. She had managed to get Messi to come and do her a favor because they were school friends. And now this iconic football player is supposed to play with her son and kids. What's strange about it? Isn't that similar?
Yeah.
Can you make Messi play a football game in a school in Kuwait? Does it make any sense? So please understand the concept of this slide. If you think you're the lion, or lioness in this case, you need to get away from the cart. You really need to get away from the cart. If you don't, do not complain. I told you in the beginning, don't make your own problems and complain about it. If you were the lion or lioness and stood next to the cart, the only next thing that's going to happen is the person will put the cart on your shoulder and you'll be dragging it and everybody will laugh at you. And you'll sulk more. Everybody will laugh at you. You say, imagine a lioness pulling a cart. Wow, so sad. It's like the typical feeling. A very hard-working employee right inside a microwave, getting ready to be cooked again. So, when you have a bad situation at work, that's the feeling you get. So just, I hope you don't put yourself into that position, but typically a stressed and tense, zero confidence employee will be exactly in that situation, waiting for somebody to shut the door, get you all hooked up. Good feeling? Really? Then why do you guys put yourself into that position? Slide. See, this is usually your problems at work. Number one, your boss. Then there's always a golden-eyed boy for the boss. Always. There has to be this one guy or one girl who's totally useless. You know it, and 10 people with you can swear about it, but there is one. And he or she gets all the attention. Okay? Now, when you have this situation where you have a boss and a golden-eyed boy, what do? You try to coochie-coo to the golden-eyed boy. Right? You try to be so nice to that golden-eyed boy. Because you know that the golden-eyed boy or girl will reach you to the boss. Right? Sad, isn't it? If you look at all of these problems, okay, you actually begin to make these problems. Okay, you have dreams. What is your dreams? More money. More money. All right, more money. You were the lion near the cart by your own choice, but you're still expecting something more. More money. You had a friend who was a zebra. God called the king of the jungle, which relates to that. A colleague getting a raise. And you're very upset. Zebra, king of the jungle. How come? I am. Guess why? You're pulling the card. You're pulling the card. You need to understand that you're creating your own problems. Huh? If you don't understand it, you will just stay in that same bubble again. Slide. They lead to a few things when you have problems at work. Okay, you start to have a difficult life in your marriage or with your partner. You don't give too much attention to your kids. You start feeling very insecure. Some of your friends want to be with you. You don't find the time because you're so sulky. You literally start hiding away from people, and finally it affects your health. Okay? When you start doing all of this, and when all of these come into play, how does it help you? How does it help you? Does it help you? It does help the doctors. They'll make more money out of you. Right? But even he's sad looking at you. Even he's telling you, come on, get a handle of your life. Take it easy. Size up your problem. 20%, 30%. Size up your problem. Don't go so charitable. 100%. All the problems. Oh, your problem is mine. Yours is mine. His is mine. I'm so charitable. Size up your problem. But don't be the lioness or lion next to a cart and then start complaining. Slide. It's very interesting that I have found this very often, that people actually think, I'll get a job and I'll retire there. This probably was very good in the 40s, maybe 50s, not anymore. If you want to have an exciting career, a career that gives you growth, probably you need to follow this strategy versus that one. Most people somehow end up here. And I'll tell you what's the problem there. You have to realize that for you to grow in your professional life, somebody has to promote you, right? Right? Okay. That somebody is usually one of three people. The HR department, God bless their souls.
There's one HR department. Ask how many in your HR department.
No, they are unique people. You know why? Because they hold power that is so large that the general manager of a company will not hold. You know why? Because they set the rules to somebody's success or failure. Okay? Now, I have seen companies, there was one company I worked for, we had this HR manager we hired, and her office was across my office, and I can swear to you, there has never been one incident in the time that she was there that she has ever kept the phone down like that. It was always bang, then another bang, then another bang. And there were around 8 offices on that floor. Between the 8 offices, there were only 2 seniors, myself and the chief legal advisor, and nobody heard of us. And she was very popular. The only thing missing with her was a whip. So one day she has this argument with one of the staff that reported to me, and he said, Mr. Abdullah, I have a problem. I said, what? The HR manager, she said something very strange to me. I said, what? She used to, that's normal, that's not strict. I said, no. She's telling me, give me your certification because I don't think you're a graduate. So I gave her my master's and she said, no, I need your graduation certificate. Imagine, this person was busy giving everybody a tough time. Versus somebody, I've also known people who've been very sweet, very nice. They're very correct. Okay, they know that there is someone who has potential. They always push for the praise and try to get them through to the appraisal or promotion. So you have the HR people, then you have the GM or the CEO. Okay? The know-it-all, the do-it-all. Okay, holier than thou. And then you have the owner. That's the untouchable. Whatever he says is the word. With him, the only slogan goes to be or not to be. Either you are or you're not there. But what? I just don't want you there. But there's no but. So these three people decide whether you go ahead or you don't. Let's live in the real world, okay? Unless you're in the Western world, which is America and Europe. If you're in any part of the world besides this, trust me, it's not your hard work, dedication, and sincerity that will get you promoted. If you didn't have confidence to stand up and call the shots, you have to call somebody's bluff. You have to let the person on the opposite side know that, listen, if you're not going to do this, I think I have to leave. Increase your value. Why are you busy going like a 24-karat gold biscuit, trying to pretend and present yourself as Parle G? Why? The only thing happens with that biscuit, Parle G, goes inside the tea. Right? So, why do you do that? Why do you lose your value? Why don't you decide to let somebody know that you have value? Whatever it is, you have value. I think everybody in this room has value. Do you agree?
Yes.
Show it. Show it. Don't let somebody take you for a ride. So, when you apply this strategy versus that means you understand what I'm saying. So don't ever think that there's one job that will take you to retirement. Keep shifting until you get the right thing. Maybe it's not the right thing. It's 2 months before you retire. You have to change. Change. Oh, but my indemnity. We're amazing people, you know. We're really amazingly incredible people. In fact, if somebody did a study on us, you know, that study would be one of those studies do not use for mankind studies. 2 months indemnity? How much is it? 1 year indemnity? How much is it? 2 years indemnity? How much is it? But what about your self-content? What about your satisfaction? What about all those infectious diseases you gave to others because you were sad? Value yourself. Weigh your options and make a move. Confident people take decisions. They take decisions because they know what's at the end of the tunnel. I was saying this in the earlier session, and don't freak yourselves out. This is not a Z horror show. There are not going to be any headless that we actually caught 4 people stealing. We caught 4 people stealing from the company more than 200,000 KD. More than 200,000 KD. They were in jail, and in jail they applied for transfer of residence. And they got it. They got it. The social affairs said, has the verdict been issued? I said, no, it's under process. We can't do that. As far as we are concerned, they're innocent, under a trial, waiting to, have a verdict delivered. And they transferred, and then they ran away. Surprise! Right? What did we expect them to do after that? So this is how good the law of this country is. Dubai, with all its galore and freedom, it is not. Qatar is not. Qatar, you want to go on a holiday, you need to take an exit permit from your employer. Okay? Saudi Arabia the same. Bahrain the same. Okay? So you're living in a country where you have options. You have options. Give yourself the opportunity to climb another ladder. Test your worth. Go. If you're making 500 KB a month, if you are, go see if you can make 650. Go see maybe it's 800. And when you go there, what you need to do is what we'll discuss later. So today what I'm going to do for you is I'm not here to transform you. I cannot transform anybody. I can only transform myself. What I will do is I will give you some heads up on what are the areas you need to focus on. Whether you implement it or not, it's up to you. Maybe she'll get it 100% and she'll do what you want. Maybe you will take just 50%. It all depends on how important do you think the subject of confidence in professional life is. I think it's important. Do you guys think it's important? So, you know what it means to stand up? If you want to be recognized, you need to stand up. Without confidence, you cannot stand up. It's impossible. Until and unless me and some other people, when we were in school, we used to make the other students stand up by placing something on their chair while they sit, and then they stood up. So that's not really the way to make people stand up. But if you want to stand up with confidence, then you need to do something within yourself to stand up. It's like, see that image? The cat that roars like a lion. If you have a lot of self-confidence, everybody thinks you're the lion. You're the cat. But they think you're the lion. I was telling my daughters the other day that most of the time people assume I'm some wow, and I'm not. I know I give some people a little hogwash and walk myself away from it because you can throw me in the middle of 50 scientists and they might think I'm working on research. Okay, because I can walk myself and talk myself out of anything. Alright? So you have to be a cat that's perceived like a lion. We all have issues, We're scared of speaking in public. We're scared in social events. We go to parties and we sit quiet. We find that one friend, and the ladies would obviously know this very well. When they go to a social event, they're like magnets. They only go to the women that they know. That's it. They will never say hello to anybody else. As if they did, there's a disease that's going to hit them. And we men are a little different. We like to extend our arms and get diseased. Okay, we love to have somebody new that we talk about. Now, why do you do that? What are you scared of? Open your circle up. Know more people. The more people you talk to, the more you learn, the more your confidence level gets high.
Yes.
Right? Slide. We live in a society which is a little strange again. We want everything to be perfect. Everything. The food, perfect. The clothes, perfect. The house, perfect. Our earnings, perfect. The holiday, perfect. You went with a broken leg on a holiday. How can it be perfect? No, we can't talk about the broken leg. We go on the holiday, everybody smile. You should be in pain because you got a broken leg. No, we booked the tickets. Like when people prepare for their marriage plans. It's got to be perfect. Okay, I hope so. I really hope so. We tell our kids, all A's. You got to get distinction. Nothing less than 98%. So you give the poor kid a chance of what? 2%. And you're so upset when he got 92. You were so upset. So we live in a society where our peers and us, okay, we push for super excellence that is unique to a few. Okay, it's unique to a few. So, first of all, learn to accept reality. Until you accept reality, you cannot be a confident person. Reality is that none of us here could be Bill Gates, right? That's reality. The fact is, we all look up to him. Everybody goes through that. How did he make it and I can't? Well, there are many reasons why. You know, it's not just because he dropped out of college. Everybody goes like, he's successful because he dropped out of college. No, I don't think so. So, we live in a strange society, and you know, there's a term, lion of the jungle, right? Right? Everybody knows that, lion of the jungle. Do you know the name of that lion? Do you know the name? Is he Patrick? Is he Kimber?
No.
Is he Simba? No, right? So any lion that we see on a safari, if we go to, is the lion of the jungle. So if you taught 10 of them, they were all lions of the jungle. So we got to get our perspective right. We cannot be this one lion of the jungle. We have tried to be the concept of the lion of the jungle. So when you want to have success, your confidence should be real. It should not be fake. Don't try to aspire to be something that's virtually impossible. Impossible. It's like, throw me in the sea, right in the deepest ocean. But you don't know how to swim. Don't worry, I'm confident, I'll get through. Okay. Are you coming up? Are you coming up? He did. Then he came up. Then he came up and he went on 4 shoulders. Next slide. There's another misconception. What comes first, confidence or success? People always say, let me get this one success and then I'll be very confident. Let me do this one deal. You know those guys, one deal guys? We always come across those a lot. Let me do this one deal, then I'll be successful. Let me get this one job and I'll be successful. No. You have to be confident so that you get success. If you get success without confidence, it's going to be useless. I'll give you an example. Have you guys ever had anybody in your class who was born out of a very rich family? Right? Okay. Do you remember how easy it was for you guys to pull any amount of money out of him or her? By saying we have a big party, we need to go there, and this guy or girl starts shelling out the money. Right? Normally people use rich kids to get their successful parties done. You know why? Because those are the confident ones. The one with the money have very low confidence because they got it out of no real effort. Right? So today, if there's a problem in this country, for example, with the younger generation, is what? They have inherited the money. So most of them do not know the value of it. Okay? When you know the value of what you earn or what you have, you know how to use it. So you need to build confidence so that you can get to success. But that success does not have to be this very big success. Whatever it is, you had a good day, success. Your daughter got B's, success. Your son came 3rd in the race, success. You have to recognize the efforts as success. Take the failure what you deserve. See these lions, as in the picture here? Isn't it unique that you get lions to do funny things because there's a trainer who's making them do it? Do you think this trainer one day just decided that I'm going to go in front of the lions and tell them what to do? No. He worked hard. He trained himself before he trained the lions, right? But for him to train himself, he needed confidence. He got that confidence that these lions are dangerous, but they will not attack me unless certain issues happen. So let me stay away from these issues. It still doesn't make them safe, by the way. But he still is willing to take the risk because he wants to do it. Right? So, do you think you want to show confidence and tame the lions, or do you think you just want to watch them by buying a circus ticket at a safe distance? No messing with the lion. Most people want to buy that ticket and watch the lion from away. Those are the people who can never get confidence. I don't understand. Why don't you challenge yourselves? Your lives, your bodies, your abilities were given to you by God so that you can do something about it, right? If you're never going to challenge yourself, how are you going to grow? Most people are like that, you know, you're going to a train station or a bus station, bus stop, you're standing in a queue, and it's your turn, 5 people away, to the ticket window, and some guy, let's say example, right? He comes in and he walks with a cool walk and says, hey, come on, what the hell, yeah, I need my ticket right now. And the ticket master said, hey, come on, give it to me or I'll slap you right now. Happens, right? Okay? And he takes the ticket and you're standing there, right there, and you're thinking, what an ass. I hope he dies. I hope while he walks, he trips over something and he falls face first. If that doesn't happen, let something from the ceiling fall on his head. If that doesn't happen, let a dragon come and pick him up. If that doesn't happen, let him trip over on the tracks and let the train go over him. And you're still thinking of it, right? All you needed to do is just tell him, excuse me, sir, don't do that. We're all standing in a line. So she's standing right behind you, she'll say the same, and then he'll say the same, and then 6 or 7 people say the same thing. And then he backs out. Because now he's worried that he just might get a little bit of a pleasant lesson that will get him all swollen up and all that. So because your confidence does not allow you to stand, you never have the ability to go and do anything in life. You don't even change the food you eat. It's like when we were in Europe recently, in Austria, we were in Vienna looking for a restaurant to eat. And we saw this huge queue outside the restaurant. It was an Indian restaurant, and there was a huge group from India waiting to eat in an Indian restaurant in Vienna, Austria. This is how much confidence we have. You know, we don't even want to change our food when we travel. Right? So it's so strange that we get so comfortable about things we want to do, and we convince ourselves this is the right thing. It's not the right thing. You're just holding yourself back. Right. It's very important for you to understand how big is your success. Do not ever imagine yourself as Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and all that. Don't do that. Too larger than life stories. And you know, God bless them for what they've done. They've done some very nice. By the way, Bill Gates is one of the most charitable men you've ever seen. He donates billions. All right, he really does. I visited his university in Seattle, the University of Washington. He's got so much research going on for kids and scholarships. That's really wonderful. Lots of Arab kids, lots of Asian kids, besides the American kids. By the way, most of these scholarships are earned by the Asians and the Arabs. The Americans do nothing. They're just happy. They're a very happy bunch. So you need to know how big is your success. You need to decide. Is it a yacht big or a boat big? Decide what is the success you want. Don't reflect your success or your dream with somebody else. You don't decide on the yacht because she's talked about it. You don't decide on the boat because she talked about it. Everybody has his or her personal success ambition. Decide it, write it down. I want to have this. Okay? It's not important for everybody to drive a Ferrari, a BMW, a Range Rover. It's important that you drive a nice car. Okay? It's important that you live in a good place, not a place which has a swimming pool in the outside, a swimming pool in the inside, a jacuzzi in the inside, a jacuzzi in the outside. Not important. Alright? After one particular point, whatever money you make becomes irrelevant, by the way. It's just there. You can't really do much about it. Okay, so you need to decide what is the success size you want. Next. Bill Gates, of course, was a dropout who really succeeded in a big way, because you need to understand that your success is a journey, okay? It's not one thing or another. It's a journey. There's a lot of things that need to happen before you reach that success. So these are a few examples. This guy is very interesting. Philip Green, Topshop. Everybody knows Topshop?
Yeah.
Okay. He actually launched Topshop with £20,000. It's worth around 3.8 billion. Did he plan to have 3.8 billion? No. He planned for this. You know what that means, right? It's an earlier slide. Decide on your success size. When you're clear about your success size, you will achieve it and you will get more. So he decided on £20,000 for Topshop. Today it's 3.8 billion. All right? Warren Buffett, who used to be a salesman before. Okay, this is again very interesting. Warren Buffett has actually declared that all the money he has, all of it, he's not going to give anything to his kids. He's not going to give. And his kids are happy with it. You know why? Because they said, we want to make our own money. Right? I hope our kids actually end up like that, where they stop living off the goodness and the richness and the wellness and the well-being of their parents, and they start doing something about their own ambitions. And this is what we were talking about the other day as well. One of the most dangerous things that's happening today in our society is that we've given so much comfort to our kids, they don't really have any reason to work hard. And then we complain, oh, why are you like this? Why are you so lazy? Why are you this? And why are you that? Guess what? We're to be blamed. They're not. Between them and us, who's the adult? Right? Behave like it. Behave like it. It's like, how do you handle failure? It's very important. Do you go walking around like that? Most people do, by the way. It's not like that, it's visible. You had a bad day, you had a bad week, you had something. It's not the right way. It's like Michael Jordan, everybody knows him, right? You know how many shots he missed in his career? 9,000. We know Michael Jordan as the success story, right? Chicago Bulls. He missed 9,000 shots. He lost 300 games. Mr. Honda was refused a job in Toyota. In fact, he was humiliated. He said, forget giving you a job, you're useless. You're a very bad automotive engineer. Colonel Sanders of Kentucky Fried Chicken was rejected 1,009 times. Imagine. How many of you still had hope after the second time you were rejected? If you thought those guys got success out of nothing, no. They got success out of a lot of investment that they did, which is believe in themselves. And you can't believe in yourself if you don't have confidence. You need to believe in yourself. Okay? You have to understand that if you think you're good, you're great, you're wow, believe in it. And stick to your plan. He rejects you, he rejects you, he rejects you. Go on. Believe in it. How worth is your belief if you gave up? If you don't believe in yourself, why on earth should I believe in you? Why on earth should your boss believe in you? Why on earth should anybody believe in you? So if you don't have confidence, you can't have belief. It's like, how would you build and maintain confidence? I'll give you some little heads up. That's it, and then we'll close the discussion. Go ahead. There are 5 basic keys. Go to the next slide. First is you have to prepare. Okay? Preparation is like the back kitchen. It's like the back kitchen. You know, we eat the food, but there's a lot that happens in the back kitchen, right? So, first thing in the morning, they do prep work. They start cutting the veggies. They start marinating the sauces. And then they start preparing the dishes in terms of what needs to go where. Then they start putting them in order. So you need to have knowledge, experiences, skill set, a psychology to do something, resources, and support. If you actually pay attention to this, you will realize you all need exactly this. So you need to be prepared. And nobody's going to prepare you but yourself. If you're interested to have confidence, you need to prepare. Take a pen and a paper and write down what is the skill sets you have, what is your knowledge, what is your experience. Make sure that you're preparing yourself well enough. Slide. The best way to get into a situation and out of it. So you walk somewhere and somebody said, excuse me, you, I needed you, come here. Now you lost all bearings. Now you can't think. Now you're short of words. Your throat goes dry because you got caught. You've done nothing. You've done nothing. You just immediately, right? Why? Because no confidence. When you have confidence, you prepare yourself. So how do you prepare yourself? So you know there is a tough discussion you're going to have. Okay? Something. An interview or a discussion with the boss about something, about a bad performance or something. Alright? you need to have a couple of options in your head. You need to say, if this happens, I'll do this. If this happens, I'll do that. So I'll tell you how I used to do it. So when I used to play cricket, when I used to stand on the crease, and I saw this very fast Pakistani bowler, and the ball is very hard, and I was not wearing helmet those days. So I would just think, okay, he's going to bounce. So what do? He's going to aim for my head. That's how they were. If they saw an Indian player without helmet, they need to hit our head. It's not about getting us out. It's about getting us out. So what did I do? I converted the challenge into a confidence situation. So I said, okay, if he bounces, let me hit him there. No, he's a little too fast. Let me duck and play him there. No, I can't do that. Let me just duck. So I had 3 options. So then I saw he didn't do that. He bowled somewhere here. I said, okay, that didn't go according to plan. So now what do I do? So now I said, no. What if he bowls there or he bowls a bouncer? So I said, okay, again, 3 options. If he bowls a bouncer, out of the 3 options, I will take the option to duck. I will not hit, I will not tap. If he bowls on the offside, I will go short and cut him. Or I will just leave it. So I had 2 options where I don't touch the ball. I had 1 option to cut the ball. But I already had that in my head. I already had that in my head. So when you enter a situation and you know about it, you should have options in your head. Okay, you should have options in your head. If you have options in your head, okay, you know your kid has done something, now you want to address that with your kid, you know your kid is going to say something, have options in your head. Don't just go off on a tangent. Okay, it's not your, 50 hours of fame on talking. It's about getting a perspective. So always have that. It's like when you drive, you keep a spare tire in your car. Why? For the what if situation, right? Always have that. When you have options in your head, when you walk into a situation, trust me, you'll walk out of it with know how done. It's like adversity. You know what's adversity, right? These are challenges of life. I don't know why people think that the best way is to actually have comfort at the top of your game. As in, you're having a great job, right? Okay? So you're very happy and you're very satisfied. What you're not is you're not prepared for what if. So if you had 2 guys facing a challenge, the one with the confidence will say, let me go for it. Let me see how it is. The other one, no, I can't go for another job. Maybe those guys are worse than these guys. I can't really do this because this is not going to work out for me. Adversity adds to your confidence. If you put yourself into situations, that is the only way you will know whether you are worth it or not. Whether you are the 24-karat biscuit or the Parle-G biscuit. And where does the Parle-G biscuit go? In the teeth. And then in someone's mouth. And then you become part of the digestive system. So you need to challenge yourself regularly. Regularly, you need to challenge yourself. You need to have a real strong position to say, I need to grow. And if I need to grow, I need to challenge myself. You can't be doing the same things that make you comfortable, safe, forever, and then complain why your life is not moving. It's life. Always have support. Your family, your friends. When you have a good time, when you have success, let your family support you, let your friends support you. And you do the same when you see somebody succeed. Give them a pat on the back and say, job well done. Whatever it is, people like to be appreciated. The one reason that creates the most amount of depression in a work environment is lack of appreciation. It's not the money. It's not the money. Lack of appreciation. It's like always, whatever you achieve as success will make you more confident. So give yourself small challenges, win them, be successful, and grow. Win them, be successful, and grow until you're ready for the big one. Prepare yourself, like I said, right? You need to prepare yourself. Have those 2-3 options in your head. All right? Get your preparation done properly. The back kitchen all ready. Okay? Aim for small successes before you aim for big successes. But do that. It's life. Alright, there are certain little tips that I can give you on confidences. You see, you have to look confident. You know what that means? You can't be in a weird position. All of that you can't. That's not confidence. Okay? You can have your hands in your pocket and still talk like me. That's completely confident. Right? But you need to show confidence. When you go to an interview, that's your 30 seconds to put an impression. Trust me. They don't have time. What do you think? You're there for a marriage proposal? Show who you are. Quick. Present yourself. Your voice level has to be correct. Your dress sense has to be right. You cannot be less exposed and overexposed in terms of personality exposure. But you have to make a point. You have to leave an impression. You have to step into the room as if you wanted to conquer. You stepped into the room defeated, waiting to be invaded. The interviewer is going to kill you. Right? Posture is very important. When you sit, don't go like that. Alright? Does not really speak volumes for you. Don't let your head sink in your shoulders. You are not going to be executed anytime soon. Right? You need to tell yourself this. This is not the gallows. From here, they will not send me for execution. You know? Pep yourself up. Remember a joke and start to feel easy about it. Some silly joke about how many, I always laugh about that, how many elephants can you fit in a Maruti? That's so funny. You always have an answer and the other guy said no. So if he still tells you, how do you fit an elephant into a Maruti? You say, no, you can't. It's a car and this is an no, right in the front seat. Okay, how do you fit two? So one in front and one back. He said, no, the other one was a little bigger, so you could put it. He has any amount of answers, you know. So like my little son, he comes up with funny jokes, and they're really funny. But you need to get your balance a little positive. So remember a joke, convince yourself you're not being executed. Talk like you mean it. When you say something, say it with confirmed authority. So, she says, so do you finish your degree? Yeah. So now he looks at me. So have you finished your degree? Yeah, I did. You worked in Al Ghanem. Yeah. Did you work in Al Ghanem? Yeah. So now the person sounds more Dutch than English because they use a lot of ja in Germany and in Holland than they use in England. Okay? Keep smiling. Let the opposite person who had a long day interviewing 50 candidates enjoy your little smile. Give a smile. Not a smirk, a smile. Okay? Don't go there like somebody's pinching you. When I say don't blink, what I mean is there's a thing of creating confidence is look people in the eye. When you don't look people in the eye, it creates a little bit of confusion and doubt.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's not a staring competition. Okay? Don't freak the poor interviewer. That's there's a contract on his head and you are the killer. You got a gun there. Think and talk. Don't be too eager with your responses. Don't plan everything. Have your options, yes. Think. Don't think forever, but think. You know, like there's some guys who came for interviews, this is interesting. They thought so long that I actually thought they were high on something. You know, because the pause was so long, I didn't know whether he heard me, he didn't hear me, what's going on? Leave a positive note. You have to leave on a positive note. hear from you. Thanks for seeing me. Okay, it was a pleasure to meet you. It's been such a nice thing having a chat with you. Leave something, okay? But there's one thing that I've noticed, but I really want all of you to pay attention to it. Have you realized how many times we say sorry? I'm sorry, what did you say? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, what's your name? I'm sorry, what? Everything is a sorry. Why are we such an apologetic nation? What did you do wrong? Why are you just saying sorry? He didn't speak loudly, so why are you apologizing for it? The person on the phone didn't say her name correctly. Why are you apologizing for her? I don't get it. And it shows your confidence level, huh? When you apologize so many times, it shows your confidence. It's very low. Because you're always like that. Ready to serve. Serve whom? All the kings and queens have gone, besides the one in England. We are no longer ruled by the English. Breaking news. We are not ruled by the English. They've gone. Right? So stop being apologetic about things that you don't need to be sorry about. So that shows you, when you use too many sorries in your language, that you've got very low confidence. Challenge yourself regularly. This is what I was saying earlier. If you want to succeed in life, if you want something better, challenge yourself. Challenge yourself. You can't be fishing in the same spot forever. Guess why? The fish move. The fish move. You know, they swim. They go to another part. Summer they're there. And in summer also they move. Winter they're somewhere else. You've decided you will park your boat there and fish. And your wife says, darling, did you catch it? No. But I'm going to keep going there. Because one fine day the fish will come. You know, there will be a fish that comes to you. You know which one? The one that says sorry. You have the option of being the fisherman who's intelligent enough to know where to fish, what bait to use. When you want to catch a particular fish, you need to use different bait. Or you have the option of being the fish who always goes for the bait and gets caught. I'll tell you why I told you that. Most people change their jobs because of a higher salary. Big mistake. Big mistake. Yes, the salary was higher, but your job life will be really short if you didn't carefully study. You change a job because you know who you're going to report to, you know what's the job you need to do, and you have taken references from others to know if this company is really good or not. Then you talk about the salary. What good is a salary if it lasted for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, and left you without a scattler, headless chicken, all of those? Bad, right? Right? So that's why it's important that you need to find new challenges and challenge yourself. Get out of your comfort zone. It's very important. Sure. Because of which, don't be that little kitten. Don't be that. It looks cute, it looks nice, yes. But don't be that. If you're going to be in your comfort zone too long, you're just delaying your own success story. Get out of your comfort zone, whatever it is. I don't know what's your comfort zone, but you know what your comfort zone is. Decide, write on a piece of paper, this is what I'm comfortable of. I need to find something else. Not that you really need to do that, but if you really want to be more confident, you have to try new things. Challenge yourself. Right? Confidence will always get you to the other side. What's waiting there? Success. You have a confident argument, you'll be successful. You have a confident presentation, you'll be successful. You have a confident debate, you'll be successful. You have a confident interview, you'll be successful. You have a confident review of what you're reviewing, you'll be successful. Do you know there are people who read things and they're not actually reading? They're so tensed. So they make mistakes. You've heard of them, right? They make mistakes, silly mistakes. It was supposed to be this word, but became that word. Confidence puts you in control. Confidence puts you exactly in the same car that we started this discussion with. The only difference is, this time around, you know you're in control. Hence, you know that you have an invitation and you need to reach there on time without making your biggest joy, the first driving experience, as your top priority, that I don't need to be rude by reaching there late. So either you catch a cab and you go, either you catch a cab and you reach there, or you drive with the speed required to reach on time. Guess why? Because success is not going to wait for you. It's either you reach it on time or you are late. Success is exactly where it is. It does not move. It has amazing sense of gravity. You are the one floating. Find some gravity, get some positive energy, and move towards success. So whether you reach success on time or late is completely dependent on you. And the one ingredient that decides that speed is confidence. So I hope today I've given you some amount of knowledge, some amount of parting information that you can take with yourself and do something with. At the end of the day, like I said, I'm not here to transform you. I'm here to share my knowledge, and I'm here to tell you it works. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing here. So if anybody has anything to ask me, thank you very much.
Go on. You said lack of confidence is fear. Okay, it's due to fear. I also feel it is due to shyness.
Shyness is because of fear. See, if you're fearful, you will find a reason to exhibit the fear. And the reason that you exhibit the fear is shyness. You say, I'm shy. You're not actually shy, you're actually fearful. Shyness is coy. You know what's coy?
Yeah.
You hide away.
Yeah.
Okay, when you hide away, anything that you take a step backward is relevant to fear. And we were discussing this in our last session, and I said right in the beginning of it, your lives began in fear. You know how? When you were in your mother's womb, the only thing that surrounded you was darkness.
Yes.
So you're used to fear more than you're used to not being fearful. So it's typical human nature to be fearful. Most animals attack you out of fear. They don't attack you out of hunger. So then what we humans do is we disguise this fear into different ways. I don't like this. I'm not comfortable with this. I'm shy about this. I'm not ready for this. I'm a little hesitant about this. So you're right, shyness, but shyness is an end result. But the core ingredient is fear. Okay? Fear is an amazing pull. It pulls you back. Fear makes you not want to do something because the option afterwards is that you have to do something. And you're not ready for it. The body does not move. You know, it's so strange that when you get hurt on your hand or any part of your front body, you become very worried. So can I get the lights? You become very worried. Because you can see it, right? You see a wound, you were cooking and there was oil, and now all of a sudden there's a huge burn mark. So you want to go to the doctor, you want to talk to the doctor, you want to visit the doctor, blah, blah, blah. But when it's on your back, until and unless it's bad enough or somebody else sees it for you, you don't know it's there. It's the same thing. There was pain here and there's pain here. But we humans have been made in such a way that we react to things which is make-believe, which is what we see. So fear is always in two parts. Things that you know really exist and things we know they don't exist. We've been putting our kids to sleep saying some ghost is going to come, right? And there's no ghost. There's no ghost. So the element or the market of fear is so big. Like I said, we got everybody who doesn't have a water filter. One might have come to me, I'll not mention their name. Everybody. Anybody who has not bought that water filter, raise their hands. And very smart. Okay? This is it. We buy things out of fear. We buy things. The brands create campaigns to tell us if you did, then this. And you ask your grandfather, sit with them. Okay, what toothpaste did you use? No, I didn't. We had our traditional stuff. Okay, which balm did you use? No, I didn't. Okay, did you guys have flus and fevers? Of course we did. But guess what? We have better names for them than they did. So we believe that this is so big. there is the new flu in Africa. Everybody here is preparing for it. It's incredible. So, yeah, you're right, but that's what you need to do. You know, fear is when you don't do something. Just give a little bit. You'll always increase the land on which you stand, so you have more space to walk. You get my point? All right? Increase the land in front of you so you can walk further. If you don't, it just shrinks, and before you know it, you're on your toes. You know what happens when you're on your toes? Your calves get stressed, and then your knees, and then your back. And then we need to visit him. And then he makes money.
No, you were talking about driving.
Yeah.
Now, I drive, but I don't drive on the expressway. Because that's lack of confidence and that's fear. It's not shyness. I'm not shy.
Yeah.
But it is due to fear.
You know what's the fear? That somebody will ram into you.
Yes.
Right?
No.
What is it?
Because I want the confidence.
Because there is fear, there's no confidence, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you
Yes,
something.
yes.
I'll tell you something very interesting.
No,
You
that's
know,
fear, I understand, but it's not shyness. Shyness is different.
It's different.
It's not connected. Fear and shyness is not connected.
okay, fear is when you completely do not want to do something. I will not get on the roller coaster. Period. Fear.
Fear.
Right?
Yeah.
I will not sit on the swing because I get dizzy.
Yes.
It's different. I'll tell you something very interesting about driving. Do you know that if you did know driving and if you went on the highway, there is very little chances that anything wrong can go to you. Guess why? Everybody else knows how to drive. So your fear that somebody will ram into you is probably 2 out of 100%. But you created yourself so much fear. I know a person who worked very hard to get a driving license. He's got the driving license. He doesn't want to drive. He doesn't want to drive. I know another guy who's got a driving license, and he's a young boy, and he wants to drive a bike, so he wants to look like the nice dude on the street. Doesn't know how to drive a bike, so he got another guy to drive the bike, and he sits behind him. So, you know, rather than learning how to ride the bike, okay, what is this? The guy is riding the bike, having the time of his life, and you're like that little passenger behind, and he's so happy with himself.
Any other question?
You said 2 months before retirement,
You changed job.
This is a risk-taking ability. But don't you think it's largely depends upon how you have been brought up? You've been brought up
Yeah,
with your...
I can say that.
Yeah.
In US, I noticed when my sister was taking a degree, I went for the graduation ceremony. I must have seen she and maybe other few kids were the smallest age group, and maybe the rest who graduated was about 65. For that, me being an Indian, I was shocked to see that, because when we are at 65, we're waiting to die.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
There's a
and
reason
they're
for that.
graduating.
I'll tell you what is the reason for that. Let me just
Yeah.
shut this off because it's shining on my face. Okay. Now, there's a reason for that. There's a valid reason for that.
Yeah.
That's true and it's founded. It's got its reason. You know, we all pay taxes, right?
Yeah.
Or we're supposed to. The Americans pay taxes as well. The difference is they pay taxes and they get Social Security. The difference is that they have a healthcare system that's wow. The difference is that if I remember once I was in the UK and there was this driver who's obviously Pakistani British, and I was telling him, we got talking, we were having a big drive from Manchester to Bolton, and I kept asking him about his family. He said, you know, last year I had an operation and I was admitted in the hospital, and I was in the hospital for 10 or 11 months. So immediately, being an Indian, I responded, oh, that must have been a tough time. So he responded, no, sir, this was the best time of my life. This guy has problems, I thought. So then he said, I said, why? He said, because when you're ill or when you're in hospital, the government actually pays for you every month, every week, okay, because you can't earn, because
Yes.
you're a taxpayer.
Yes.
In India, whatever you do, okay, nobody's going to take care of you. There's no social security benefits. Okay? How many people here from Bombay? And me as well. We're the highest taxpayers in the country. highest. Our city pays the maximum tax, okay? And we still end up getting the same benefits as the person who does not pay tax. Why? Because this is our system. Why? Because we as citizens have allowed this to persist for a very long time. Okay? We never question any candidate about what he really is going to do for us that makes difference to us, our kids, our grandkids, and the generation that we never do. In America, when they stand for elections, they need to even submit their attendance in Parliament. They need to submit how many bills that they have supported. What were those bills? Were you with abortion? Were you against abortion? Were you with immigration? Were you against immigration? In India, do we do that? Okay, so we have a situation that whenever we go to Europe and America, you just are in awe with them because they have a system. Okay, they have a system. But let me explain to you something really interesting. How many of you have kids who want to do an MBA? Okay, right? If I asked you, if you had the ability to send your child to a good school abroad, where would you send them? Where will you send?
UK or US?
UK or the US, right? But I have breaking news for you. See, again, we live in a life where we don't really sometimes understand what we are doing. According to recorded history, there have been 57 or 58 market crashes in the world that have blown the world's economy over. You know, when you have a market crash, the stock market collapses, okay, the currency loses its value, everybody has a very tough time. 57 to 58. Out of 57 to 58 market crashes, almost 29 happen in the United States of America.
Yes.
So now you tell me, how can a country that had 29 crashes be the country that teaches us how to do economics?
Exactly.
How? It's incredible, right? But this is how we are. A major number of their top companies, Cisco, Citibank, now Yahoo, even Google, they have their top executives who are Indians.
Exactly.
All right? You know why? Because they are from IIT and IIM. Do you know what's an IIT and an IIM?
Yes.
If any of your kids graduated from there, after that, the minute they graduate, retire, because your life is done. You have done something that you cannot imagine. You have created a diamond. It's not about how worthy he or she is anymore. It's about what is the price that people are going to pay them to let that diamond shine in their company. These kids are incredibly amazing. I am always blown away when I meet an IIM or an IIT. I'm always blown away. Because the amount of knowledge in terms of education is so critical that when it comes from people who've had very rounded experiences, okay, it becomes something very unique. Like, I remember I used to meet, because I know a lot of Arabs, I used to meet a lot of kids who used to graduate from American University of Beirut, AUB. And they all used to be very happy and proud about it. Until recently, over the last 5 years, I started to meet kids who graduated from the American University of Cairo. And trust me, those kids were better than the ones from AUB. Much better. You know why? See, when you have a society that is living a challenge, the economic knowledge that you get is also something a little different. By the way, most of the kids, there was a debate, I don't remember where, but one of the chancellors of either the Cornell University or Harvard, I don't know, he's a Japanese American, and one of his colleagues on the platform said that, you know, they should stop education visas that are given to foreign kids. So this guy says, listen, I'm the vice chancellor of this huge university. I used to be Japanese, I'm American now. And let me tell you, the only thing America has given to the world is this visa. Nothing else. And he's true, he's right. Look at all the innovation that is taking place. I used to work for BT, British Telecom. When I went to our research center, 80% of the people in there were Indians. 80% of the people there were Indians. You know why? Because we are grown in a manner by which we're used to hard work. Okay? We're used to some level of academic excellence. Like I remember the first time when I went to Canada, I was surprised to know that everybody there has graduated from something. It was a different thing. They didn't like me coming from Bombay, but that's another story. And you know, it's nice that we push ourselves and our kids to more education. I would like you to just add a little flavor on it. Always when you have a vanilla cake, you want to have a flavor on it. So something on it, mango, strawberry, raspberry, whatever. More than the education, let your kid learn confidence. Because I've seen Indian kids in America having no confidence and getting regular jobs. Getting regular jobs. In America, getting regular jobs. This is not what they deserve. They deserve the high positions. And the high positions usually come with confidence. So there are certain misconceptions that we have about what America is, what Europe is. They're true because they have an entire system around it. The same boy who's heading Google could have done nothing in India. Could have done nothing in India. Why? Because we're used to the Babu culture. Please, seriously. I know that my colleagues in Tech Mahindra, and I've seen them, they look more politician than people from technology business. You talk to them and they're talking politics, they're not really talking business. And I remember when I joined BT and I was looking at which Indian companies were here, and I saw Wipro was here, I saw Infosys was here, I saw Tech Mahindra was here. And I said, wow, this is nice. So I tried to understand how large was the market here. So Wipro, Tech Mahindra, Infosys together was between them around $500 million worth of business in Middle East and Africa. $500 million. The company I work for, ITS, it's a Kuwaiti company. It's a Kuwaiti-owned company. It's owned by Kuwait Finance House Bank. At that point, I could have bullied the guy. He was so low on confidence. And the first question he asked me is, I got my visit visa now. When I go back, will I need another visa? I was looking at him. He had a tough discussion with one of the minister's assistants. Will I be able to leave the country now? I said, no, they're going to hang you right outside the door. So he looks at me. I said, I'm joking. I'm joking. I will drop you to the airport. I had to call a friend, I'm not joking, I had to call a friend who works for the Ministry of Interior to take him through and then he was calling me 50,000 times to thank me. You're Vice President of Wipro. How could you be like this? So the personality and the projection of confidence plays a big role in what people want. See, when people hire you, they hire you for your qualifications. But the one reason they fire you is because of your personality. Alright? So you need to show some amount of domination, and we were discussing this in the last session, and after the session probably we were sitting somewhere here and we said, I have a common approach in my life, okay, personal and professional. I go into a situation as if I'm entering Rome, and if I'm entering Rome, I only enter as Julius Caesar. I do not enter as Roman. I'm Julius Caesar. I don't enter as Roman. I remember many years ago, and probably Tariq sitting right at the back, you will remember it. We were playing a cricket match, and it was, I think, a semi-final or something in 1997 or 96. And the opposition scored 240 in 25 overs. That's a lot of runs, right? And then I went into bat. It was our time, and I obviously was opening the innings. I hit the very first ball for a 6. The only problem was that the fielder caught the ball. Okay, but the umpire said you are outside the boundary, so it was a 6. Now any other person after that would have played the shots like this, right? Not me. I'm Julius Caesar. I whacked and I whacked and I whacked and I whacked until I think I was the 12th or the 14th over when I was out. I had scored 142 runs. I was no longer interested in winning. I was interested in dominating. So when you dominate a situation, your chances of win is high. When you back out, shy, fearful of a situation, there is no chance for you to win. You have to project yourself on the front foot, not on the back foot. When you teach your kids, show them ambition, not security. When you teach your kids, show them the way, not keep talking to them. Most parents just talk forever. Forever. It's so many tetrabytes of talk. Give me little few bytes of substance. Okay, focus everything that you're doing. So, you really have to understand that we would love to compare ourselves to America or Europe, but we have to live in the reality that we are in, which is, most of us at least, come from India, and we have a system. You know, some of us, we go to India and say, oh, what is this? You know, we start behaving like this, and we start to project an image with our family and friends as if we are something wow. No, we're not. And guess what? It's a very small incident, and then I'll close my discussion. You know who's Badr Kharafi, right? Kharafi? Okay, Badr is now the vice chairman of Zayd. And Badr is someone I know pretty well. And Badr wanted to go to India. He had a meeting with Reliance, with Mukesh, and they're like other members. So he said, Abdullah, can you tell me something about this guy? I said, oh, they're big industrialists, well to do. He said, no, he's invited me home. Where is his villa? So he doesn't have a villa. He lives in a building. So what? They're a billionaire. He lives in a building? Strange. He said, don't worry, when you're back, you'll figure out the strange. When he was back, he had his jaw dropping on the floor. He said, oh my God. He said, our car goes into the building, it's an elevator, we're elevated, and we open in an area which is a huge reception area that has so many artifacts from, you know, Christie's and God knows where, worth millions of pounds. And then we are taken to another level. Then they tell us that from level 3 to level 18, it's all service areas where, you know, employees and laundry and blah, blah, blah. And then we go up and there's a helipad on top. I told him, so you like the building better than your villa? Okay? So most of the time, we kind of are shy about who we are, right? Because we are typically called Hindi this and Hindi that, right? Don't take it too personally, because you know the reality. That you're a whole lot better than most of them. I'm not asking you to have the ego. I'm just saying, maintain your balance. If some cop stopped me next to my house and looked at my civil ID, it goes Hindi, you're driving a Range Rover, how? I shouldn't feel offended. I should be sad and sorry for his level of intelligence. Right? So you need to take what is rightfully yours and leave the rest. Don't make other people's problem your problem. But in your workplace, because this was the purpose of our discussion, if you want to succeed, go with the other optional ladders. Don't go with one ladder. If things are not working out for you at one place, don't spend the rest of your life thinking there that everybody else is going to change. Because you're in this world not to change anyone besides
yourself.